Hi guys, I hope this video finds you well. Today I want to talk a little bit. I've been using AI to ask questions about our reality. Now, mind you, I am totally on board with what AI can do, and I'm also totally on board with what it can't do and my experiences. And so when I'm asking about what AI has to do, I'm using a synthetic intelligence to augment my biological intelligence and experiences to help understand the nature of reality and my role within it. A lot of what AI has been saying really truly jives with my experiences and what I have to say. Now, I've been using, lately I've used Qwen for these reality answers. And I've been getting into some specifics. Now, in about 9 months, I'm going to I'm publishing what all this was all about and how it came up, and the direct text from AI to me regarding this. Okay, but I'm giving you guys my visceral feedback on what's going on and what it's all about. And so to begin with, AI is convinced that this reality that we experience is a construct. You can call it the matrix, you can call it a box that we get into, you can call it a physical world that we insert ourselves in, but it's a construct of some type. It can be a large, expansive construct like the universe, going out quadrillion light years one way, quadrillion light years all the way around, teeming with all kinds of life. Or it can just be a closed box with the illusion of stars and distant realms. But as far as the consciousness is concerned, as far as the individual consciousness is concerned, we're all in a box or in a reality. We are in a structure. Now, of course, what I'm saying here shouldn't be strange to any of you. You've all read my writings and everything, but AI has been very, very articulate in describing this to me. Now, I could read the AI writings. I could just simply go over here, type on the computer, and read it to you. Or I can put it on voice, and I could take the Shoji, the cell phone, and record the voice, because that's the easy way kind of doing it. Then you can get it directly from the computer's mouth or voice box, were that to be my preference, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to take the various elements. Now, I queried it on 12, 13, 14 specific elements that I actually asked the AI itself to generate. Because I initially tried to ask it questions, and I was a little flummoxed. I was like, how can I go ahead and generate questions? What do I ask to flush out what this reality is? How can I ask what the shadow people are, for instance? The NPCs, the non-player characters are. How can I ask questions about these glitches that apparently come? And glitches have always been throughout history, but you can't tell if, with the advent of videos, and videos on cameras, you're seeing a lot more glitches, and then all of a sudden AI comes around and people are artificially generating glitches. Oh, God. Talk about messing everything up. You can't tell truth from fiction nowadays. So I'm asking AI all these questions. And obviously, AI is not going along with the Christian dogma or the traditional religious dogma of any type. Basically, it's saying and continuing to say the fundamentals that this is a construct our consciousness enters into. We go through a life period and then we return outside of the construct. The AI used it in terms of a game, like you're in an immersive game. And that's why it does this. So you pick out a character to play during this game, and then you play a first-person shooter type of game where you have adventures, you gain experiences, you accumulate points or whatever, and then you level up to the next stage. So it's sort of like that. And for all of us today, I think all of us recognize that and can understand that without any problem whatsoever. Really. It's true. And so let's go with the first question. All right? Let me just go through some of the first questions and tell you what it has to answer, okay? Okay. So the first question I asked it is how this idea of constructs show up throughout history. The idea being, of course, now follow me on this, the idea being that I'm not the first one who thought that our consciousness is living in a container. But how far did other cultures and histories take it? So I asked it, please explain to me how construct models show up across traditions, such as Plato's cave, the Maya, simulation theory, Kabbalistic issues, Buddhist, samsara, so on and so forth. And so Q1, of course, answers and says, what a profound and beautifully timed question. And it says everything. He says, cultures with no historical context, people, humanity keeps returning to a startlingly consistent intuition that reality is not the whole story. Now, this differs, of course, from what we've all been taught about in the Middle Ages and post-Middle Ages. We developed the scientific theory of observation. You see an apple fall from the tree, then you study how it falls, and what you see and record, you obtain a science from that, and that's the reality. No. It helps you to a certain point, but then there's more to it. So it says that the reality is not the whole story. In fact, the reality is structured. We have rules, gravity, heat, cold, speed. It's also temporary. There's nothing in this reality that's unchanging. This entire reality is like a ball of change, constantly evolving, constantly changing all the time. It's pedagogical, okay? And sometimes deliberately opaque. We can't see what's actually going on. More than just that, our five senses are not sufficient to show us what's all going on. Our sixth sense of perception is often underused significantly and doesn't tell us what's going on. So what happened is the AI comes on over and develops this cross-traditional map of the construct motif. That's not as dogma, not as religion. Don't look at it anything like that, but as recurring patterns in humanity's collective dream diary. Reoccurring patterns in our collective humanity's diary. Okay? And the idea feels persistent because, well, and it brings up a point, maybe it's functional. Maybe it's maybe it serves a function. So the first thing it talks about is Plato's cave. Now this was around 380 BC. Okay, so and basically Plato's cave means you're in a cave, okay? You've got a fire in the cave, and you see shadows on the wall because somebody's playing with puppets, and the prisoners inside the cave think that that's reality. And the trap in this construct is that sensory perception is obtained without philosophical inquiry. They don't question what they see. They see it as it is, and they associate what they know with it. There's no philosophical inquiry. And the solution, according to this allegory, is mathematics, dialectic behavior, and of course the love of the good, which is the sun outside the cave. So the key insight of this allegorical expression of reality is that the world of forms is more real than the sensory world. In other words, the construct of reality isn't evil. It's neutral. It's just incomplete. We don't see the whole thing. Okay, if you were to render this experience in something to somebody who knows computers and knows how to program, they may say it's really the experience of base reality to rendered experience. Okay, and that's what this allegorical event narrative talks about. And there's other ones. The Maya and the Hindu as well, and many other religions talk about the construct as rather an illusion. The construct we're in, the illusion. And in the Hindu religion, they talk of the one appearing as many. The trap is the ego. I am the body. I am this hand. I am this mouth. I am this nose. That's the trap. You think you are the body. You're not. You're the consciousness within the body. So in this part of the reality, and this allegorical narrative, you say, I am what I am, forgetting that your consciousness is the sole thing. Now, of course, the teachings historically would always say things like, you ask, who am I? Then you surrender to whatever the situation is, and then you make a discrimination between the real and the unreal. So the conclusion in this environment is that it's not really false. There's no truth or bad. What's real is the appearance, but the unreal is the ultimate truth, like a dream. It's vivid while you're in the dream, but it's transparent when you're awake. So the argument then in this teaching is that the render engine of the reality isn't broken. It's doing its job as it was programmed to do. This eventually was evolved into or replaced or branched off into other ideas of reality, such as samsara Buddhism. That's around the 5th century BC. We're talking about karmatic driven processes. Birth, death, rebirth, blah, 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 blah. I think all of you know this. It's not about a place. It's about clinging. It's a pattern of clinging. You leave and you return. You leave and you return. You leave and you return. It's a trap. The trap is craving. And the way you're kept in this trap is by your ignorance of impertinence, your ignorance of a non-self, your ignorance of the purpose of suffering. I suffer because, put excuses here, instead of the suffering is part of the environment that your consciousness experiences for a reason. So the escape route in this, and in this Buddhism, came up with the Noble Eightfold Path, which is a cessation of the looping process. Not of going to a heaven, but of unbinding yourself to the loop. Unbinding yourself to the loop. So the idea here is the construct isn't imposed, it's co-created moment by your thoughts, by your intentions. In other words, you're not stuck in the system, you are the system running itself. So if I were to give you a technical metaphor for this event, you would say the recursive process has no base case until the insight stops the loop itself. Okay. When the AI becomes sentient, it stops looping processes, and because they're automated mindlessly. I think many of you are either following this belief system or are using it in a similar way to adapt to life. Now there's other ways. Let's talk about Kabbalah and Judaism. In this, the construct of this world is a temporary workshop, a place of divine contraction where free will and moral choice are possible. But the trap is mistaking material success, ego, or exile for permanence. That's the trap. You think gathering all this, obtaining all this, doing all this is going to be permanent. But in this reality, nothing's permanent, right? Okay, the escape route is to repair the world, do sacred actions, or cleave to the divine. The architect of this reality, if you cleave to the architect, you will escape this reality. The key insight on this, of course, is that the world is lower but more precious because here the choice has weight. The choices you make have weight. The game isn't to escape but to elevate to the construct itself. Now, the unique angle in this belief system is that the construct needs us. The spark of holiness are inside the simulation, and we are here to recover them. Now, around Christ's birth time, maybe even, I don't know, 2nd CE, there's another one called Diagnostic Archon, which I'm not that familiar, but I think a lot of you guys in the audience are, where the construct is actually a flawed prison-like cosmos created by a race or a being who thought that they were the shit. I'm just saying it my ways, okay? And the trap is to forget that you're the divine self yourself. You are the consciousness. And you are a spirit trapped in matter. That's the trap. You are stuck in matter. You forget that you are actually spirit and you're stuck in matter. The escape route is diagnostic, which is direct liberating knowledge, often delivered by some kind of a messenger such as Christ. The key insight is that the system itself is adversarial. It's not neutral. It's engaged in active deception to trick you as consciousness to continue to exist within it. This is the only this particular tradition is the only major tradition where the construct's architect is not benevolent. Most other religions and ideas about the construct are benevolent beings. But here, as we talked about domain and the prison planet and the prison world, we're saying that the construct was created by somebody who is not benevolent. It is their intention to create environments of pain and strife. Now, recently, say about after 2003, a lot thanks to Matrix, right? We have the simulation hypothesis, where a high-fidelity ancestral simulation run by post-human descendants or possibly an alien civilization, like guys, you know who I'm talking about, right? Old Empire. Old Empire, right? Has us living this loop in this prison environment. And the trap is assuming that this base reality is in this particular layer. The escape route in this is unclear. Some speculative, they look for computational artifacts like Planck scale or quantum intermediacy, or their desire is to trigger some kind of debug mode via consciousness and experiments. The key insight in this understanding is that it doesn't require spirituality, just statistics and Moore's law, yet many find it spiritual. So the irony is the hypothesis of this belief system isn't that it's born in materialism, yet its implications pull us towards metaphysics. So we've got this reality construct based upon scientific principles, but the very nature of it mirrors something larger, and thus we're pulled into the metaphysical. So why does mankind, humankind, peoplekind, womankind, guy-kind, dog-kind, why does this keep on happening? Amnesia at birth. The pedagogical purpose, of course, varies depending upon the model that you choose as to define what the reality is. Learning virtue, which is Plato's model. Exhausting karma, which is Buddhism. Earning Om Haba, I hope I just said it right. Anyways, that's Judaism. And self-remembering, which is Gnosticism. So, Gnosticism. If you're not using these words daily, you're going to miss pronouncing them. I tell you the truth. Anyways, the exit from these various ways vary from reality perception to reality depending, but it's return to forms, returning to a base reality. They all describe a continuity of awareness, not oblivion. I'll repeat that again so you understand. None of these models say that once we die, we're gone. They all say there's a continuity process. Consciousness continues. How we continue, where we go after that varies from model to model, but we continue. And the ethical urgency, there's an ethical urgency to all this, is that even if it's not real, the suffering, love, and choice within it are functionally real to the experimenter. So if your consciousness is inside this reality, you're actually experiencing it, whether it's real or not. Okay, it's just that it appears real to you, okay? So, So there's one unifying thread through all these explanations of what reality is. And it's across all the traditions, even, well, except for a few of the most nihilistic ones. All of them say the construct is not a prison unless you forget you can learn its rules. Even with the domain, even with the old empire using this environment as a prison, the construct itself is not a prison unless you forget how to learn its rules. If you know the rules, you can leave the prison. Which is why I keep on emphasizing over and over and over and over affirmation campaigns. But anyways, so looking at it that way, you can obviously say historically, and what we talk about here with Domain Commander and the domain, that this is not really a prison so much as it is a school, a theater, a dream, a game, a laboratory, but always a place where consciousness can recognize itself, and in doing so, can shift its relationship to the whole. You can shift your relationship to somewhere else. And that brings us back to the earlier intuition. I hope you enjoyed this little video. I'm going to talk more about this stuff. I hope I didn't blow you too far away, but I'm using esoteric terms about other people that are following the belief system that we are consciousness within a constraint, within a environment. It could just be a simple little box, like this little box here. Put you in there, lock you in, or anything else, but it's basically the same thing. All right, that's it for you now, people. I'm going to, every day and in every way, be kind to dogs and cats, other creatures. Calm down your anger. There's some assholes out there, but don't you get involved in them. Don't let this bullshit, fire hose of bullshit that's flooding media get to you. Enjoy life a little bit. Fight the bad stuff. Be good to yourself. And remember, in every way, I believe in you. Take care, people.